What is one thing that has messed you up mentally? I really think I haven't been the same since I found out life didn't go on forever. I mean, I was 4 to 5 when I found that out, and I don't think I've been fully happy ever since. I know this is something everyone goes through, but from what I've seen, people don't seem to take it as hard as I did. I remember laying in bed as a child just crying because I knew one day I was going to die. All through my teenage years, I was exceptionally depressed, and a big percentage of what I was thinking about was how unhappy I was that life ended. I'm about to turn 30, and quite frankly, I'm still over it. Only now I think about the fact that my wife is also going to die, and how if I have kids, they're going to die. Some people are okay with that info. For whatever reason, I'm just not. When I was in high school, a boy that I had liked for years in elementary school and was good friends with afterwards missed school one day. It was weird because he was one of those kids who never missed a class unless something was seriously wrong, like if he was puking his guts out or worse. He wasn't at our weekly yearbook meeting. Then, the next day in first period, school announcements came on, and they said that Canada and whatever else was delayed for a few hours. I remember sitting in biology class thinking that was weird. A boy a few rows behind me put his hand up and said to the teacher, "Ms., there's a rumor going around that someone died. Is it true?" It was him. Some random strain of meningitis that people don't get vaccinated for. I went to his funeral, and he was there in his coffin. It looked like he lost 30 to 40 pounds in just days, and his face was a weird bluish color. It would have been his 24th birthday today. I was jumped down the street from my house walking home from high school. The 2 kids were on the bus with me and got off when I got off and engaged me when I turned down a side street, which happened to be my block. Now, whenever I'm walking home, I feel like I'm being followed. That was like 4 years ago. Growing up, and I ended up with one best friend. I was an awkward child who had an unfortunate problem during puberty of developing man boobs. My BF was more popular than me and would continually stick up for me. He was someone I looked up to as a protector and role model of a decent human being. We remained best friends and jointly made the decision to enlist. We went to basic and AIT together, and as luck would have it, got assigned to the same unit. We deployed together. He was a couple vehicles in front of me in the convoy. They're the ones that tripped at the IED. When we got to him, his legs were barely attached. He died before the 9 line could even be called. I miss my friend every day, and to do this day, I see something sinister behind every piece of litter I see on the side of the road. I used to work in the emergency room. It fucked my head up a lot more than I realized while I was there. I'm able to stay calm and not let things impair my work or emotional well-being in the moment, but all that does is allow me to backshelf things until they come spilling out. It was a great experience, but mentally draining. My neurologist prescribed me SoundDrone. For 2 years, I thought I was losing my mind. When I tried to communicate to her that I had a seizure or 2 and that something wasn't right, she increased the dosage. I was forgetting to take my seizure medicine because the medicine was causing me to forget. It was a vicious cycle. I lost my job, almost lost my wife. I now have memory issues. I've lost most of my memories and struggle to make new ones. Getting fat shamed. A lot of people have the mentality that shaming someone who is heavier will give them an incentive to lose weight, but it really doesn't. Instead of telling someone everything that's awful about them, help them see what's great about fixing it. As I've spent more time with friends who really enjoy healthy eating in small portions, and going to the gym with friends who really enjoy it, their love of healthy habits has been wearing off on me and giving me more incentive to live healthy than fat shaming ever gave me. Having divorced parents and no family around. My mom is always at work, family is spread across the country, but no one around me, and I just feel isolated from everything. I try to fill the void with friends, but they don't invite me anywhere, and it's 100% effort on only my part. Altogether, I just feel like I'm not needed by anyone, because if I were, people would have cared to include me. Having people who I believe were my friends, but actually bullied me in middle school. That shit gave me major trust issues. Then in high school, people talk shit behind my back. Then in people who claimed that they were my friends deleted me from their life on high school graduation. Now I got trust issues when people say they like me. Honestly, growing up in a religious community and being told that my virginity was the most important thing. Like it was what gave me value. To be clear, I am still religious and I make no judgments on other people's beliefs or life choices. But I've changed my mind to the value of virginity a long time ago. Even though I now don't view it as the most valuable thing I have to offer, I still deal with issues of deep insecurity, and it was a long road of self-discovery that I had to take much later in life than everyone else. Telling young girls that their best attribute is to be pure and virginal for their husbands can really mess with their minds. Teach your girls to be valued for their personality, intelligence, and kindness. The amount of times that people who I thought were good friends purposely left me out of fun things, or did not come to things I invited them to because they were busy, and I find out they were hanging out without me. It makes me not be able to make new friends because I drive them away with my paranoia. My ex. I'm not sure I'll ever feel like I'm good enough for everybody anymore. I just assume that everyone is going to up and leave me in the same way. I'm seeing someone at the moment, and I'd never tell him, but I'm constantly on edge that he's going to turn around and say that he doesn't want to be with me. Nobody has ever been quite so successful at making me feel quite as shit as that guy did. I'm single again. I didn't expect to have to be single again. After 5.5 years and talking about the future, me being single wasn't in that future. It's been 6 months. She's married, and I'm still single. I'm scared, more scared than I ever was. I started dating her in my sophomore year of high school. I'm 22 now with absolutely no clue how dating works. I never had to learn. I never expected to have to learn. I'm not angry at her. The heart wants what it wants. But damn if it didn't hurt, and god damn it, if I pour myself into something and to be left with pieces of my former self. I don't like bars. My hobbies are predominantly male-dominated, disc golf and skateboarding. And besides that, sex is now a scary proposal for me. If I have to nail it down to one thing, it was how my father listened to the doctors when they said that my birth defect was so bad that he shouldn't get attached because I wasn't going to make it through the night. He did fight to let me have a name and screwed that up. My first name and middle name got switched. But we never connected. I was always the last favorite. I think that screwed me up the most. Every day, excluding about 7 days off a month for the past year, I have been working with kids who go into crisis, who are wards of the state. I feel like I have absorbed some of the chaos, chronic depression, agitation, trauma that they undergo. I re-enter normal world and can't function without thinking about the petty social issues my network of friends and family find entertaining or worrisome and have further alienated myself. My family's dog was poisoned as well. It was about 18 years ago, so I wasn't born yet, but I hear stories about it. Apparently it was because he barked a lot. Our neighbors threw chicken that was dipped in some toxic car engine cleaner over the fence, and he ate it. He brought some to my sister apparently, and she almost ate it, which scares me. The idiots who did it were tried in civil court and thankfully moved out of the state in shame. One of my legs is shorter, like 6 centimeters shorter, which causes me to run with a limp. I had a similar teacher, but for phys, I was terrible at it, even though I tried the hardest I could. The teacher was this jock that never really left high school. So when class bullies would make fun of my running or lack of athletic skills, he would join them. When my oldest brother found out, and I know this is totally wrong, he and some of his friends stepped up to the teacher and asked him which leg they should take. That's really shitty that they singled you out like that. So people don't think about others, or just don't give a shit. As far as your brother and his friends, I think that sometimes people have to see what they do affects others, and occasionally that requires some blunt methods. I think it's great he stood up for you. Sounds like he really would have broken his leg IR or something for you. Smiley face. Something very similar happened to me in 3rd grade. I'm also ADHD, but I never really considered that there might be a connection between that and what happened. Maybe there was, maybe there wasn't. No one to know now, I guess. Anyway, we were all instructed to pull everything out of our desks, clean the inside, and then replace the contents in an organized manner. I did my best. I really did. But whatever I had done wasn't satisfactory. The teacher walked around inspecting each desk. When she got to mine, she told me I had to do it again. So she dumped my stuff onto the floor and arranged the other students into a circle around me. She made them watch in silence as I reorganized my desk again, crying the entire time. I was humiliated, but I didn't realize just how fucked up the situation was until I looked at my classmates. My eyes found my best friend, and I saw that she was crying too. Similar thing, when I was first diagnosed with depression in 4th grade, my teacher was so insensitive. A normal symptom is complete just loss of control and breaking down into tears. And I was in 4th grade too, so I did it even more. I was never even loud or anything, I just kind of kept to myself during it. Never bothered anyone, but every time she would shout at me. You need to, suck it up, you're in 4th grade, or go out in the hall, if you're going to, do that, which I always refused to, are things she had said. I only did this once a month, twice at most, because it's so hard to send me to guidance instead of shouting at me. Fortunately, every time, my mom found out and would send her an email about it, and tell her it was wrong. Yet she never stopped. OMG, a teacher dumped everything out of my desk too. Was it 2nd grade or 1st or 4th? Can't remember, but all my stuff started rolling across the floor, and everyone laughed at me. Why did she single me out? Because she thought I was messy. She stuck a yardstick into the open part of my desk and used it to knock everything out. This was decades ago, and it still makes me burn with shame and fury. The day it happened, I just knelt on the floor, silently picking up my stuff, trying unsuccessfully not to cry. My brothers both went to a private Lutheran parochial school from elementary school throughout the end of high school. My older brother was frequently belittled and sent into the hall by teachers in elementary school. It even got to the point where he was slapped by a teacher. He was somewhat of a sassy kid, but no kid deserves to be slapped. The teacher was fired, but still went to the same church as us and ended up teaching in public school. Long story short, by the time I was born, my parents were cool with me going to public school. I still did 2 years at a private Lutheran school, and I had a shitty experience as well. Edit. Fixed autocorrect. Teacher at my school hated kids. She taught Microsoft Excel. I've been using Excel for years, so I knew it very well. However, I started out as one of the worst students because I had been using a previous version. Once I got the hang of it, I could do the assignments faster than the teacher. I was sent out many times for cheating. Not quite as abusive, but my first grade teacher thought I was developmentally disabled because nobody could read my homework and I had to do every assignment 2 to 3 times before it was legible. They sent me to be diagnosed as special needs. After several tests, they decided I was super smart and had shit penmanship, put me in the gifted program, and gave me tons of remedial handwriting and phonics to make my handwriting legible. I'm sorry you had to deal with that. I had a similar issue with a grade 2 teacher. She was mean and would always poke fun at me because I had a stutter. So much so I would go to the nurse a lot and feign illness. After she found out this, she would constantly make fun of it. Like if I want to clear my throat, and the teacher would be like, molested sliver, you are not going to, the nurse stop whining. I barely remember any of this cause it is so repressed. I guess I know this happened cause my mom would say that I came home crying and shit. It ended when my parents had a conference and the teacher was reprimanded and I was moved to a different class. My mom almost kicked her ass. My sister went through something very similar. After already going through 2 early miscarriages, they found out during her 3rd pregnancy that the baby girl had trisomy 18. She decided to go for the abortion option. It was the worst thing ever seeing my sister and brother-in-law have to go through that. Thankfully, on March 26, she gave birth to a baby boy, only 2 weeks early. 8 pounds, 14.5 ounces, so he's huge. Unfortunately, he had to have heart surgery to correct a coarctation of the aorta, but he is recovering nicely in the hospital, and they should be able to go home soon. I hope you were able to find the peace my sister and her husband were able to find. It's one of those things that no one would ever wish, even on their worst enemy. The way I think about it is that we all die one day. That's a fact that no man has ever been able to get past. As a non-religious person, I actually take comfort in the fact that when I die, I will be conscious no more. Everything I did in my life, for whatever reason I did it, won't matter. I won't have the stresses of a job or the stresses of maintaining a relationship. I won't have any worries at all. Now that comforts me. I have heard that side of the argument plenty, and it's a valid point, but I just can't see it that way. Part of the reason I'm so stressed is that I'm trying to cram all this shit into my life and have fun while I can, while at the same time trying to maintain a job and steady income. And truthfully, as bad as things get, I really like being alive. I know a lot of people take comfort in death, but I just can't fucking do it. I don't want to miss out on the new movies, music, world events, etc. I want to be around for all that shit. Pakistanis are some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. They're genuine, caring people. My favorite babysitter was Pakistani, and she was like a second mother to me. Every Pakistani I've ever met has been so willing to treat others like family, and they expect nothing in return. They're truly a great community. I'm so sorry you never got to have a real goodbye. Another meaning for Inshallah is God willing. Source: I speak Urdu. I had a ton of confidence and used to be the ace in conversations and in everything. Then a bully beat me twice in front of whole school. I was so embarrassed after that I lost all my self-confidence. I can't even say things out loud now. It's been 2 years. I hate that kid. Every time I try to talk to someone, I remember that time and think that the other person must be thinking what a loser I am. Edit. Thank you everyone for the help. Please consider subscribing if you enjoyed. Love.